Hey everybody, it's Craig. We're out in the shed today. Got a nice fire going. It's pretty cold out here, about 20 degrees today, 21. It's really cold. So what I did is I had a couple of things I needed to do. One was to get the screens out of the windows just so they don't get damaged. And also I got two gable vents that I close off with some plywood. That keeps the heat in and stops that wind from blowing. The shed is not tight. So we get enough ventilation in through any of the doors, the double doors here. So, what I wanted to kind of talk to you today about was these 1 pound propane cylinders that I use quite often. One, you can see this has a attachment for a torch, and I use them for a buddy heater for my shanty, which is right over here when I go ice fishing. So recently I bought one of these, what do they call them, just an adapter that goes on the 20 pound tank, and then on this end, and then it goes on the 1 pound tank. You tip the 20 pound upside down and you fill it. Well, the issue with doing that I found, and this is why I won't be doing that any longer, is, I'll show you up close. You can see there, that's your pressure relief valve. And that pressure relief valve, when this tank, should this tank exceed, I don't know, 200, 250, 240 psi, usually when the temperature is outside is high, this little pin in there, which is really just like a Schrader valve, will just pop out and it will release the pressure. In order to fill these things, to get a proper fill, and a proper fill is not to the top. They can only be filled to about 80 or so percent because the gas has to be able to expand. So what you do is when you fill it from a 20 pound using this adapter that I just showed you, you have to actually pull on the Schrader valve to get the gas the gas out so you can get the liquid to fill that volume. And then once you start seeing the spray of propane, then you know that you've got your 16.5 ounces of propane, and it's what's considered full. The issue is this Schrader valve is not designed to be pulled on repeatedly for a repeated fill. Putting a very small set of needle nose pliers on that Schrader valve actually started chewing it up, and I had a very difficult time trying to get that thing to reseat. So what wound up happening was two things. I had a leak. I had a leak, first of all, from this part, which was only $9, including shipping from Amazon. But the leak is coming right from here. So even though this was tight on both ends, to the 20 pound tank and the 1 pound, it was leaking here. Propane being heavier, heavier than air, will sink. And that gas, you could clearly smell it based on the chemical that they put in there, and that filled the garage pretty quickly. So I knew that I had quite a leak going on. So I stopped what I was doing, ventilated the garage, and tried doing it again. And then once I tried doing it again, ran into a similar problem, that Schrader valve would not seat properly. So for the amount of money that you can save in filling these 1 pound tanks, these 1 pound tanks go for about $3.75 at Walmart, and sometimes you can get them on sale for a 2-pack or more. I just don't see the value in doing it. So I've decided that I think my next step will be to actually purchase the there's a kit, or there's a new tank that you can buy. There's a new tank that you can buy that is designed much thicker than these. These are only designed for a one-time, one fill. This is very thin sheet metal, hot rolled steel. I think it's called Flame King, has a similar type tank that's built to the standards of a 20 pound tank, meaning the thicker amount of sheet metal to protect it from the constant expansion and contraction from being filled and being used. When you fill it, it utilizes an Allen key. So when you are hooked up and you're filling the bottle, you release a small Allen key that allows the gas to come out safely, and then when the propane liquid starts coming, you shut it right off and you've got your fill. So I've decided that I'm going to go with that route. You know, I know you can buy these things really cheap on Amazon. I know there's 100 or more videos on how to do this and save money, but we're really talking about a safety issue, in my opinion. And one, the safety issue is this is just a horrible design because it's just inside here, not even a rubber stop. It's just a piece of plastic washer, and the gas escapes around it, so that doesn't work very well. Maybe there's a different model or variation of this that would work better, but either way, you still have to cope with the fact that these tanks are really only meant and designed for a one-time fill. Yeah, you can do it, sure you can, and people say they've done it over and over and never had a problem until they have a problem. So I'd rather go with something that was, when it comes to propane, I would definitely rather go with something that is safe. Because as I had this thing hooked up, after I filled it, a different bottle, in that I could just make out the silent hiss of a leak. So I had to shut the flame off on the buddy heater, and I was listening, and I thought, that thing is still leaking, and it was. And that's not safe to have an open flame and a leaking bottle. Just, you know, so that was when I said that this isn't worth it. It's not worth filling a tank for 40 cents and then, you know, blowing up my garage or my, my ice shanty while I'm out there ice fishing in the lake. So that's what I wanted to bring to you today. We got a nice fire going here in the shed. I'm going to close that off and let that fire go. I just cleaned the glass on there. This thing has actually become quite the bird killer. The European house sparrow, which is an invasive species, has been likes to go up on the chimney and come all the way down, and they find themselves every now and then inside the firebox. And I'm not out here that often, so I don't find them until they're piled up dead. But today we found 3 of them, so I guess that's one way to get rid of an invasive species. So it's doing its job multiple ways. If you do like these types of videos, please click the subscribe button and hit the like button for me as well, because that helps out tremendously. And I want to thank all of you for coming along today on this video, and we will see everybody in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching.